Get your AM/FM Radio Free Go-Go.
Good morning, DC. It's going to be a rainy couple days in the district, so you may as well put on those headphones, go to your favorite perch overlooking the city, and brood with the Capitol Hoop Caucus. I'm Wardell McCabe, and I'm joined, as always, by my two co-hosts. First is a man whose favorite dinosaur is the Archaeornithomimus. It's Isaac Ajicum Harris, and the man to his left loves himself a Triceratops. It's Troy Halliburton. Gentlemen, did I get your dinosaurs right?
Absolutely not.
No?
No. Like, it is Triceratops.
Oh,
like,
Triceratops for you? Okay.
Yeah, no.
I'm going to go with Brontosaurus.
Brontosaurus. See, when he said Triceratops, I thought yours favorite would then be the Archaeornithomimus. But
yeah, no.
I can see how that could be easy.
I like the Natural History Museum. You go, just see the fossils, like the big dinosaurs. I like that.
You ever do the one in to make your dreams come true, slide down the back of it for example, Flintstone style, or no?
Ah, man, I wish I could, man.
Yeah,
that's some like real night at the museum type stuff.
Yeah, it could be fun.
I was thinking more Land Before Time, one of the greatest movies ever made.
Okay. Or, you remember the show Dinosaurs on ABC?
Yes, I do.
I'm the baby.
But anyways, let's get to the question of the week. This one for you all. What is the best soup for the fall time? Troy, I'll start with you.
Ooh, I love a nice tomato soup grilled cheese combo.
Okay.
That's
You have a preference of what type of cheese?
We'll go with white American.
Okay. Isaac?
I have to say the same thing. And
hey now.
like there's a beautiful grilled cheese restaurant in Falls Church called Space Bar. Overpriced grilled cheeses, but that same feeling. And one of the combinations I had for cheeses is mozzarella with pepper jack, and then a white American as well.
Very nice.
With bacon.
Okay, see, I have to join you in this as well. I love making grilled cheese. As a former baker, I love to make the bread myself, so I like to go that little rosemary olive oil stacked bread, and then for the cheeses, I always do a Gruyere and then a Havarti with some white American. So it gives a nice stretch pull to it. So we got 3 tomato soup heads here, but that is not the point of the show. It's not a soup show. I wish it were, because, my goodness, I'd love for my mind to be on soup all the time if I could.
No soup for you.
No soup for you.
But may I ask you, Troy, we're not talking about soup. What is the point of the Capitol Hoop Caucus?
Well, the purpose of the Capitol Hoop Caucus is to be the preeminent basketball show in the DMV area, covering all aspects of the sport from prep to pro, men and women. If they're throwing up that round ball, we're going to be talking about it.
Absolutely. And Isaac, what station are we airing on?
We are on ESPN 630, the Sports Capital, or better known as ESPN DC.
Absolutely. And we are running on there every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. And if you ever miss us, do not worry, because you can always catch us on the podcast, wherever it is that you get your podcast. But also, when you have the chance, when you're done listening to us in the audio medium, just go ahead and head over to YouTube, because you can look at us on the visual side as well. Look at our pretty beautiful smiling faces every single week, because we're over there now too. But let's get on to today's show, because the Wizards, they have announced their promotional giveaways and theme nights for the upcoming season. So we'll go through some of the highlights of what they're offering. There was also, outside from that, a piece by Varun Shankar published in the Washington Post on the team's rising ticket prices. So we're going to dive into why that's happening and what it means for the fans. But speaking of the Wizards, their first preseason game is actually tomorrow, so we'll be holding one final preview on the team's upcoming season. Only this time, we're picking some superlatives. So we'll go through who we think could be the team's MVP, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and Most Improved Player. And we figured, if we're doing it for the Wizards, we may as well do it for the entirety of the league, too. So we'll do that right after that, and then we'll close out the show with trivia time from the line. But first, as always, we got to launch things off with the Beltway Beat. As I noted before, the Wizards have unveiled their promotional theme nights. We're going to be going through their calendar, and our hosts are going to be providing some of their insights. But to do so, we're going to be joined by a very special guest, the first three-time guest on the Capitol Hoop Caucus. You all know him as one of the GOATs of Wizards Twitter. It is Domo. Domo, thanks for joining us once again, my friend.
Hey man, thanks for having me, man. Always a pleasure to be on the show and just chop it up with y'all, man, and just talk hoops, man. Especially Wizards hoops, for sure.
Yeah, Domo, man, it's so good to have you back on, man. I feel like, there's been, a little bit of downturn in the optimism of Wizards Twitter, ever since that infamous draft lottery night, But, as the season is approaching, I could think of no better person than to come on and talk about what positive things we can look for from this team for the season.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think, everybody had their faves coming into the draft and who they wanted and everything. And I think it played out just fine. I think we got a dog in the building. We traded for another dog. And so I think it's up from here, man. I think we on the right path. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I think that's your best way of trying to put it out there. Did anybody watch Ace Bailey's preseason showing? you didn't have to, you didn't have to say it, but I'm picking up what you're laying down there, man.
Yeah, man, he looked good. I mean, but he ain't doing nothing I ain't expect him to do. So.
Oh my gosh, man, Domo, it's always a pleasure to have you and always talking hoops with you and. Also, just DC Hoops just as a pleasure. So I'm excited to hear what you got to say.
All right, but we were talking about reasons to be excited. What more than to get excited for than free stuff? And that's what the Wizards are going to be giving away a lot of. So if you're listening on the audio side, just for your reference, you can always go to nba.com/wizards/promotions. You can see some of the things that the Wizards are giving away. But if you're on YouTube, we'll actually be able to show this on the screen as well. So that way you have a sense of what it is we're talking about. But let's first start off with the home opener. It's going to be happening on October 26th versus the Hornets. The Wizards are going to be giving away a rally towel. Domo, you're seeing the rally towel right now. What do you think of this towel?
I'm actually... It's a towel, I guess. It's I don't know. It looks like a kids party type style. Like I don't know. I guess it works, but yeah, I think the kids was the demographic with that one. I think the 10 and under, I think they'll be fine with it. Like my son would love that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with give me that Keyshawn George bobblehead. Like that's the one I think that a lot of fans that might be the collector's item that comes out of the fan giveaways
out of this season. All right, Isaac, I'll ask you: is this a thumbs up or a thumbs down
for the towel?
Yeah, for the towel.
It's a down.
Okay.
I hate to say it like that. Not the best way to start off. If you're trying to we're trying to stay positive. Oh, here's a towel to start you off for this. Come on now, like you gotta make me want to come back.
We're definitely boosting the excitement.
I'm sorry, I'm not excited. I'm not excited about the rally towel. Sorry, Wizards fans. Sorry, marketing and promotions. No.
Okay, let's move on then. One thing that is very common when you scroll through this calendar is they have a lot of heritage days. The first one is going to be on November 16th.
Yeah.
They have Muslim Family Day, and there really seems to be a bit of a formula between the shirts that they're giving away here. You have to, in order to receive these, it's a special ticket offer. So you actually have to buy a special ticket in order to receive this giveaway. It's not going to be the same as walking through the door and just being given one. Isaac, before even asking you about the design, it sounds like that was the first time you heard of this being the format of some of these giveaways. What's your initial reaction here that you actually have to go through the process of buying a special ticket for them?
What bills do you got to pay? Wizards, that we have to get a special ticket package to get free stuff. That should already be including the ticket. Yeah,
it definitely doesn't feel like free stuff.
No, it doesn't feel free. You're paying for it. Like, it's, oh man,
oh man, they're gonna let you know the ticket sales are up. It's 37%.
Right, here we go. Where did that number come from? We see it now.
But let me ask you, Domo, what are you thinking of this design that they're going with for these Heritage Days?
It's interesting. I The all over print. You know what? I would probably have to see it in person. Just looking at the mock up, I'm not a fan. But I don't know if it's executed right on the shirt, maybe how like the tone and the colors and just the material. But just looking at the print, man, I wouldn't wear that.
Yeah, I think I have to echo that because, one, with these, anytime they give away like a button up shirt, your main worry is what's the material actually going to be? So many times these things are really scratchy, you know? And I think that if it feels more disrespectful to do that for like a heritage night, for something that, one, doesn't look good and then also doesn't really feel good to wear. But it's jarring to me the volume through which that they're actually like releasing these. There's like a Lithuanian Heritage Night. There's one like every other week where you have to get them through these special tickets. Troy, what do you think the reason is for the high volume of these?
To sell tickets. There we go. Look, that's the supply and demand. This is basic economics here.
Yeah.
I look. Shout out to what they're trying to do. By bringing in a diverse group of fans. And so, I think that this will eventually lead to, you getting in all different types of groups of people coming in and, hopefully they'll be able to enjoy some Washington Wizards basketball.
Hopefully so, but maybe on November 25th, they'll enjoy some pajama pants because they've got some designed by Bub. This is something that the team's actually done over the past few seasons where they allow some of the players to design some of the merch. The level of design, I have no idea, frankly. I don't know how involved the players actually are here. But Isaac, if you're looking at them now, may I ask you, what do you think of these PJ pants?
I actually like them. I'm not gonna. I'm a good roll out of bed PJ guy. Like, I actually like. If this is the design, I'd be for it. Yeah, if this is the design, yeah, why not?
All right, Domo, do you echo that? Do you give it a thumbs up here?
Yeah, I like these, man. I would wear these for sure. These are fire right here. I like these.
Yeah.
All right. So there's something that's winning here in the merch. That's good. There's at least some high point. We keep scrolling down. There's a Greek Heritage Night. The one that's a little bit more interesting to me is they have some that are nods to universities. So that's pretty neat, I guess. A UNC style one.
Smart.
They've got some tumblers that they're giving away. The big one, though, that I think that most of the fans are going to be interested in is later on in the year, there is a very interesting collaboration that's happening here. And this is something that the Mystics kind of did, a bit of a brand collaboration this past season when they had a jersey for the Peanuts. This one for the Wizards, though, they have a hat giveaway and then also a jersey giveaway, during which they're collaborating with SpongeBob SquarePants. So, Domo, what do you think of this SpongeBob and Patrick themed jersey that you're seeing in front of you?
Oh man, it's. I'm gonna kind of echo what I thought with the towel. Like, it's not for me. It's my son would love this though. Like, I think the kids would get a kick out of this, but I just couldn't imagine a grown adult wearing this anywhere. Like, where are you wearing this jersey? Like, nah. But for the kids, I think the kids will love it. My son loves SpongeBob, so they be all over this.
And Troy?
I actually am a big SpongeBob fan, so I think that this will be something that I will throw into the collection. But like, I agree with Domo though. Like, this is definitely something more so catered towards for the kids. So if you want to introduce your kids to Wizards basketball, I think this will be a great giveaway and a great opportunity for them to connect.
Yeah, it definitely could be. I'm not ashamed to admit that not only do I want this in the collection, I am actively looking for ways to add this into the rotation. I do want to. I mean, Tomo, you were saying that you can't imagine a grown man who'd want to do that. One's right here. So I'm looking forward to this one shamelessly. I think I'm going to have a lot of fun when this actually releases. But I think what this can do, though, is lead into a larger conversation. And this is something that we kind of front-ended here when we were talking through the rundown, which is the ticket prices, right? I asked Troy why it is that we feel like the team is doing it. And it's a very clear and obvious answer. And I kind of want to open this up because, as I said earlier, Varun Shankar he published a post in the Washington Post during which he discussed and addressed some of the escalating prices for tickets for the Washington Wizards. The article was titled, "With Season Ticket Prices Up and Fortunes Down, Some Wizards Fans Tap Out." And in the article, Shankar, he briefly outlined some of the stories of Wizards season ticket holders at varying price levels, almost all of whom have taken issue with the team's year-over-year price increase in season ticket costs. Per Shankar, out of the 41 season ticket pricing tiers, 34 of them have seen an increase in costs. And he even outlined a pair which jumped by more than $10,000 year over year. Troy, what are you making of this price increase?
I think the observation that I would have has to be the fact that the prices are increasing, but I don't think that the amount of services and things that you're getting increases. So it's like you're really just paying more for the same stuff. And, I think that it's very ambitious for the team to, have these very dramatic price increases when the product on the floor has really kind of declined over the last couple of years. So, I think with every business, you have to, deal with the evolving landscape of the economy. And, I think that is part of the reason why they're raising ticket prices right now, is because everything is just getting more expensive. But, to me, I think that they probably would have been better served to at least try to increase some of the provided services that fans can get from paying these extravagant prices.
Oh, definitely. I think, one thing to really stick to there, as you raised, the product on the floor has definitely not been great at all. I mean, it's kind of hitting an all-time low. The last two seasons, the team has only won 33 games combined. That's not only the worst in that stretch in the NBA, that's the worst in franchise history for back-to-back seasons. So, to do so right now is not great timing. It's definitely not great optics. But Domo, as a fan of the team, how are you feeling of these escalating prices?
I see it more as just kind of par for the course. Like Troy said, everything is up in price. I mean, houses, cars, water,
Eggs,
power.
eggs. In a little bit, we're gonna be paying for air. Like it's just what it is right now. So, they got a bottom line they got to hit. So I get it. It just the timing of it is pretty bad though, because 33 wins combined in 2 seasons and you jacking prices up, like it's not going to sit right with a lot of people. But I don't think this decision was made lightly, and I think it's more than likely what they had to do because of everything that's happened around them with the economy and the prices of everything going up. So.
Well, with that in mind, we have talked about the team's on-floor lack of success over the past few seasons. That they already came to a head last year. They were second lowest in total home attendance of the entire NBA last year, and they just had a little over 6,000 more people in attendance than the Atlanta Hawks for their home games. The difference, though, is that the Hawks actually only played 40 home games last year, whereas the Wizards had 41, and so did the majority of the league with 41. So on a per home game basis, the Wizards had the lowest average in attendance. Troy, you'd noted that obviously their efforts are trying to bring people in with these giveaways. Do you think that'll be successful given the rise in prices?
I think the only thing that will make this successful is that the team goes out there and plays well and actually tries to compete and win games. And if you can start believing in the young core, the fan giveaways and stuff, that's all well and good. The thing that will actually put butts back in the seats is, if the fans can actually believe that this young core, has a promising future.
Right. And to add on to that, earlier this week, you had actually published something through your Substack, Ideal Taste, during which you kind of are trying to be a shepherd of hope for the franchise. Isn't that right?
Yeah, well, I wanted to, give Wizards fans, some optimism heading into the season. I feel like, one of the things that is, very prevalent around the league is that not a lot of people believe in the Wizards winning a lot of games this year. I saw that, Kevin Pelton wrote a piece where he does his predictions for using his fancy models, and he said that the Wizards were predicted to win 14.2 games this year, and that would make them the lowest predicted win team since he's created the model. And so, like
That's not great.
Yeah, that's not great, Bob. Not great. And so, what we have to be looking at here from, the Wizards standpoint is like, there are some things to be optimistic. And the thing that I am most optimistic about is the fact that this rebuild is being done correctly. And so, when we looked at, when Ernie Grunfeld was fired in 2019 and Ted Leonsis, went out and talked to 100 different people, he wanted to come up with this concept of monumental basketball. And, that would be the kind of vertical integration of what he wanted the basketball arm of monumental sports to be. And I don't think that, that really began to take shape until Michael Winger and Will Dawkins came in. And so, that's the things that I really highlighted in my piece was really talking about how, they've come in and, really allowed for everybody to kind of, be delegated a certain and specific task. And those tasks are now combined together to make a whole sum. And, if they just continue to build on the sum of those parts, then I think that, they will have a bright future. But at the very least, if they're not predicted to win a lot of games, like at the very least, again, that the young players are going out there and they're improving and getting better.
And Domo, do you echo that sentiment? Do you feel like there is some real hope for the direction of the franchise?
Oh, no question. I mean, I jokingly call them OKC East because I feel like the bones of it, how it's being built, kind of like even the infrastructure around it, just with when you hear players talk about like their experiences with training and the staff and how it just seemed like everybody cares what the players got going on and just the attention to detail and how it's almost kind of like a college atmosphere when you come there in the way that they prepare and provide services to the players now. I just think, it's reason to be optimistic. And then when you look at the talent on the floor, the parts that they've put in place, I think it's lending itself for them to have a defensive identity with a lot of athletes flying around and playing modern basketball, which is something I've begged them for a few years now. Versatility, 5 out. The ball not sticking, everybody having the ability to dribble, pass, shoot, and handle the basketball. So, it's reason to be excited. It's just a matter of what player or players is going to kind of carry that mantle and be the face of the franchise.
I hear you both, and I think my only gripe right now is, and this is a larger worry, is obviously I want to have that hope. I want to afford them that length to develop these players and for these players to take the spotlight, right? The worry, though, is whether the fan base can actually watch them, right? That's the concern here is, we're 2 weeks past just having that very in-depth conversation, and we continued last week about Monumental Sports' disconnection from YouTube TV and Hulu with Live TV, and you pair that in with the increased cost of going to see these games in person, you will risk truly diluting the fan base entirely. And I think obviously these things didn't happen concurrently with a purpose, right? I don't think that Monumental intentionally raised it knowing that they were going to lose the licensing agreements. So I don't think that there was malice there, obviously, but it's definitely not great optics that this came out at the time they had that issue, right? Where, they did lower the price for the annual cost for Monumental Sports Plus, but they didn't do so for the monthly. And so, if you are a diehard Wizards fan and you were watching it through YouTube TV or Hulu with Live TV, which seems very reasonable to have done so because those services also offer other live channels that you can watch, but then you lost the Wizards, right? You lost the Mystics and you lost the Capitals too because this extends to them as well. And because the cost was only lowered for the annual instead of the monthly, let's say you sprung for the annual plan, that's not a cheap cost. It's a pretty upward front cost to actually afford. And so to do so, also increasing the game prices, you're kind of pricing out the audience and you're catering to a crowd which feels like you're only catering to the wealthy side of this area, which is kind of a shrinking side if we're being honest. considering the just general landscape of workers right now, considering like just the general federal shutdown. And so
Just
you're
about to say.
kind of losing a lot of fans here unintentionally. So now the question to you, Troy, I'll ask is, how do you retain that fan base? How do you keep them engaged knowing that they're kind of being priced out?
This is, again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but the biggest solution would be to go out and win. And so, I guarantee you, if Trey Johnson goes out there and plays like a rookie of the year candidate, if Alex Sarr makes a jump, if Bilal Coulibaly turns into a most improved player type of most improved candidate, like, I think that then fans will want to pay Monumental Sports $19 a month to watch their favorite players. But I think in the meantime, I think that price point is a little bit unreasonable, and we're just going to have to see how this all plays out. I did notice that for the Capitals game the other day, that Ted Leonsis had tweeted out that if anybody that was at the Capitals game and they lost YouTube TV and their Monumental Sports services, come to Section 104 and get a free gift card for a year subscription to Monumental Sports Network. And so, I feel like that they might try to do something very similar with the Wizards. And so if they are able to kind of continue incentivizing people to, not only come to the games and, like you say, are you really giving it away for free if you have to be at a game in order to get it? But, again, we're just going to have to be patient and see, how they determine to solve this issue. But, again, the best way to do this is to go out there and win.
Right. And I'm glad that you brought up what it is that they did at the Capitals game, because that kind of parallels a little bit what you had proposed their original solution for this was. I mean, it's not fully what you had hoped for them to do so, because you still have to, unfortunately, watch the games through that app, which isn't the most friendly app, but they are trying to make it accessible to the fans. Granted, it is those who are in attendance. So, I mean, if you're looking at hopefully them trying to replicate that for Wizards games, then I guess everyone try to see if you can make it to that home opener. It's against the Hornets, so it's not like it's going to cost a lot because, spoiler alert, another team that's not really going to have a great year. So it's going to be a little bit more affordable there, and it is a bit cheaper. If you can get it for a game ticket that's like $30, that is noticeably cheaper than the $180 that it is for the full annual subscription. So it does make it a little bit more affordable, and it does at least make it seem as though the ownership group is trying to bridge the gap here, because that's what they really need to do. They need to try to connect to this audience and this fan base as much as they humanly can, because if not, then you run the risk of not just breeding discontent because the product on the floor isn't great. You also run the risk of complete disinterest, which is nothing any franchise ever could possibly want for any team operating in any city, especially one which operates so many teams in this area. That could be a huge, huge no-no. But we're going to take our first break here. When we get back, we'll talk a little bit more about the Wizards preseason, and then we'll go through some season predictions for the Wizards. This is the Capital Hoop Caucus on ESPN 630 and the ESPN 630 app. Good morning and welcome back into the Capital Hoop Caucus on ESPN 630. Alongside Troy Halliburton and Isaac Harris, I'm Wardell McCabe. We're still joined by our very special guest, Domo, and we're about to take a deeper dive on the Wizards right now, focusing on their preseason. Troy, kick things off. You went to team practice earlier this week. What did you think from what you saw?
I saw. NBA practices are very much guarded, and so they usually only let the media in for like the last 15 minutes of open practice, and I actually was very lucky the fact that I went on a day where they actually had 5-on-5 scrimmaging, and so we didn't get a chance to see any of the scrimmaging, but I heard that it was very spirited, and I got a chance to watch some of the players get up some shots afterwards. But the biggest thing was I got a chance to ask Coach Brian Keefe a question about what it was like for them to actually have like a training camp experience, because they are, the only team in the NBA who's only playing 3 preseason games. And they haven't played a preseason game yet, so they've spent the last week and a half just literally playing against each other. So I think that kind of opens the door for a more nostalgic sense of old school NBA training camp.
All right, and we're gonna play that clip right now.
Coach, with there only being 3 preseason games scheduled and the first preseason game not being so late into the preseason slate, do you think that you have gone through a more traditional training camp type of setting? And if so, what do you think that you have learned from so much practice over the last week?
Coaches love practice, so this has been fun for us. Just using each day to get better. Can't measure it against anything else. We're just taking advantage of the time each day, and I think our guys have been really purposeful, intentional with what we're doing in practice. Excited to play on Sunday. That'll be fun. Good test for us. Looking forward to that.
Right, and that sound comes courtesy of our very own Troy Halliburton. And let me just say, my initial takeaway is I love the sound of the training going on in the background. Folks, the NBA is really back.
Yeah, the NBA is all the way back. And shout out to Keith, because I thought that he gave the very coach speak answer, like coaches love practice, and that's a fact. And so I think that it's very interesting for the fact that that they have such a young core, and that they are putting a real emphasis on the teaching and learning aspect of how they want their players to play. And so I think that there could be some type of competitive advantage that comes from the fact that that pretty much was a scheduling quirk, because I was able to talk to like the Wizards PR people, and they said, essentially they just didn't have, the dates didn't align for them to be able to, play more preseason games. And so, I think that, this could be a blessing in disguise for them to have, what was a very intense, last week and a half of practice.
All right, well, now, Isaac, as a former player yourself, may I ask, do you have any insight for a week like this, during which there's no games necessarily to really prepare for? It's really just grinding it out in an old school style of practice.
You either fall in love with your teammates or you end up hating your coaches at the same time. Usually during these types of preseasons, college, high school, and in the league, it's like one of those things where it's like you either really coming together or you're not coming together at all. And I think for the Wizards, they really took the time to say, you know what, we don't need to go to Abu Dhabi. We don't need to go to Macau or do a special game. We already went to France last year for Alex. This is the time for like, hey, let's just do this. Let's get out these 3 games, get to know each other, see what we have left, because we have a huge roster. We don't know what we're doing, and just grind it out. And this is like try to build that chemistry. Like, you're going to remember these days come post All-Star break saying, man, this is what we're here for, and whether it's positive or negative. So it's like, so this has been a critical time for them, and that's how I took it as a player, and being part of that is that, hey, this is all coming to the beat with the phrase that Jim Larinaga used to say is begin with the end in mind. So this is beginning with the end in mind with that.
All right, now, Domo, obviously we pointed out the Wizards, they're the very last team to play a single game in this preseason. I mean, we've seen some Chinese teams play in the preseason already. What are you anticipating in their very first preseason game on Sunday?
Just not much structure, not much really to take out of it to go into the regular season, because they're just going to be trying things, getting wind up under them, just competing against another opponent. So I just want to see guys work on things that they're maybe not necessarily known for or good at yet. I think preseason is the time to kind of workshop those things before you get into regular season, and you got to play a designated role to win games. But in the preseason, man, let it fly, man. Try that sidestep, turn around, crossover. Try it all, man. Because these games don't count. But come regular season, we gotta lock in.
Now, Isaac, what are some of the things that you think that the players should be trying to work out in these 3 preseason games that they have?
You said sidestep, Domo. The Keith's going to take somebody out, and I already know which person's going to get pulled out immediately. He starts taking a sidestep, quarter three that you don't need to take. Although, yes, it is a time to experiment. I think the players need to really figure out what their identity is right now. One of the college teams that I played for, we thought because we had, and this was when I was in Canada, we thought we were like one of the oldest teams in the division. And we had the most Americans per se, that because I was playing in Canada. We thought we were just going to run through this thing. We had the most experience, but you still have to figure out a culture and identity from that. And I think doubling down on what that is, doubling down what Will Dawkins has been saying since he's been in this role. What is Wizards basketball? Everybody else needs to figure out that line because there's a lot of new faces. So you have your core that probably know what it is, but you have Trey Johnson, you have a lot of new faces, including veterans. Hopefully they take this opportunity to kind of double down on that.
All right. Well, as we said, there's only 3 of them, so there's only these 3 preseason games. The actual start of the season only a few weeks away, so now seems about a great time for us to make some season predictions. A few weeks ago, you heard us grading the off seasons of the NBA, and then we also took some listener questions and answered in the mailbag. But we haven't actually given some stern predictions of what we expect for this team. Now, what we'll first do is talk about what we anticipate for the wins and losses. I mentioned it earlier. Over the last 2 seasons combined, the team has won 33 games, which is a franchise worst for a 2 stretch of seasons. But as Troy pointed out, Kevin Pelton's model has predicted the Wizards at 14.2 wins. I checked in the break that he said that it was the worst that they ever predicted. He's been running this model since 2010, so that's a pretty large sample size for that to be the lowest number. ESPN Bet also has the Wizards over-under at 20.5. Troy, what's the win range that you expect for this team?
Woo. Let's say I'm gonna go with that 14 to 20 range. I think that people people aren't forgetting. I think this is a very much relevant thing that's going on amongst Wizards Twitter is the fact that, they still have that, top 8 protected draft pick that is owed out to the New York Knicks. That was a part of the John Wall trade. And so technically speaking, that would put them after the trauma that we already experienced from last year's draft lottery, where you dropped 4 spots in the draft lottery. So now we have to finish with the worst, the top 4 worst records in the league in order to ensure that even if you drop 4 spots, that you still keep that pick. And so when you look at last year, the team that finished 4th, I think they won like 20 games, 21 games. And so, I think that it would behoove the Wizards to not cross that threshold if they want to keep their draft pick. So, it just really kind of puts it, into perspective, the kind of numbers game that they're going to be faced with for this season. And so, yeah, I would say in that 14 to 20 range is a smart bet for what the Wizards are going to do.
All right, and Damo, do you think that that's an accurate assessment?
Oh, no question. It's no way the Knicks can get that top 8, can get that pick, that top 8 protected pick. You go out and you try to win, 25 games instead of 19 or 20, and then you drop from 6 to 9th. It's like because that, if I'm not mistaken, that's what happened in the Rui draft, either the Rui draft or the Din draft. I can't remember. One of those drafts, we were supposed to draft top 6. We dropped to 9, and it's just like, come on, man. But yeah, they can't have that, man. They can't get the 9th pick and then they go to the Knicks in a season where you're obviously have constructed the roster to tank at least one more season. So yeah, they gotta. Yeah, I'm gonna put them in that 14 to 20 as well. They have to. They have no choice.
And Isaac?
I'm going to give a hard number rather than in between. I think they're going to win 15.
Damn.
15 on the dot. 15. And I don't mean to be harsh, but either it's 14 to 20, yeah, but the only reason I'm saying this, they're going to be trading some vets here. So either they start going on a little win streak, either they start losing on a losing streak like they did last year, and then they trade some vets and they start winning a little more, and then they finish out a losing streak, or they start on a winning streak, they win their 15 games early, and then they just don't win again. Something's going to give here, and with especially a young roster, and you're trying to protect that pick, something's going to give there. And I only say 15 instead of like the 14.2 because in the NBA, someone's going to have off night. So it's just inevitable. And when you have bench pieces like Cam Whitmore that likes to, shot chuck, they get a little lucky. Or like you get Trey Johnson, who he's been working on his jumper. Keyshawn George, someone might be hot one night, and it might be enough to take out like a top 4 team in the league. And it's like, oh, this is a weird win. But I think that's guaranteed that's going to happen with this team.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with all of you. It's that 14 to 20 range. I think what I would add on to that is they don't, at least from an outside perspective yet, have like an established killer on this roster, right? A guy that everyone can view will fully lead this team out of those tight games. And for that reason, yeah, I think they're going to be on the lower side of the win total, and it's going to be by design. One thing to also note about Kevin Pelton, he kind of dropped an interesting little nugget there. Obviously, we talked last week about how ESPN, they rank every year the top 100 players. The Wizards had no one in the top 100. They also apparently, according to Kevin Pelton, didn't have anyone in the top 130. So there's really not a lot of
I think that's a little disrespectful.
Of talent on the roster right now.
Crazy.
It's a lot more potential. And for that reason, the whole year is going to be a lot of these young players figuring out where they actually fit in this league, what their potential actually is, and trying to make it a reality. So there's going to be a large learning curve. The excitement for the team is giving them the ability to figure it out. These young guys have nothing but opportunity ahead of them. So that's what I'm looking forward to this year. But let's move on to some superlatives. Who is it that we think will be the leading scorer? Domo, I'll start with you.
This is. We just talking just the whole season period, or are we saying pre-All-Star or after All-Star?
Who's gonna be at the? It doesn't matter, but pre-trade, after trade, like who at the end of the year,
after trade.
when you go to Basketball Reference, who is gonna be the top name on that list?
I'm gonna go CJ McCollum, man. Like at least seven straight seasons, 20 points a game. I don't see a reason why that would change this year. If anything, it might go up. So I'm going to go CJ McCollum.
All right, Isaac?
I'm going to stray away from that because I did have CJ as well. CJ might have a career year here. But if it's not CJ, if we're talking about someone who's potentially going to be here on the roster the whole time, Bub. I think Bub's going to find an opening here playing that point guard. He's not going to play the traditional point guard way. I think he's going to play more of like a Kyrie, like a score first, even though he needs to be a pass first. And that just comes with the growing pains of developing as a point guard.
All right.
I'm going with CJ. It just, to me, I think that it makes the most sense. I love that stat that you just pulled out, Domo. That I didn't know 7 years in a row of 20 points per game. Like that's
reliable.
That's a bucket getter. So yeah, I think when you look at what the Wizards are going to be looking for from CJ, and especially with him trying to get that trade value up, like he's got to go out there and put that ball in the basket.
Now, I'm going to go with a player who I honestly thought Isaac was going to go for, someone who might try to get his Kaminga on a little bit. I'm going to go with Cam Whitmore.
Yeah.
I think he's going to see a lot of opportunities here. He's definitely going to put the shots up. I don't know if they're going to fall, but he's definitely going to try to go for it. But moving on to the next one, Troy, I'll start with you here. Who do you think will be the MVP of this team? Now, this doesn't have to be like the actual best player. It could be like an unsung MVP.
The most valuable player for the 2025-26 Wizards is going to be Alexander Sarr. I think that when you look at Sarr, we were talking about earlier about how the Wizards don't have a player who's ranked in the top 130 players in the NBA. Sarr is that player who I believe has the best opportunity to jump into that top 100 ranking. Just because of his defensive versatility. Like you really just don't find 7-1 guys who are able to competently defend at the rim and also competently switch out onto smaller players. And so if Sarr really just stays healthy, he raises his game on the defensive end and starts putting in some buckets around the basket, then I think he has a really good opportunity to be the best player on this team and be the MVP.
Hey, Damo?
Yeah, man, I gotta say I agree with Troy here. Like it's Sarr for me just because of the versatility. Like I think there was a quote that came out him saying he's gonna shoot less threes this year and take more shots at the rim because his shot died last year. I think he was like 60% of his shots were jump shots. As a big, that is going to kill your efficiency. So if he flips that and he's at the rim with most of his shot attempts, and then he's giving you 2 blocks, 7, 8 rebounds, and just kind of stuffing the stat sheet, 14 to 16 points, I don't see how he wouldn't be the MVP of the team.
I'm gonna have to break away from you guys. Although I do like Sarr as that, and I'm expecting that improvement. He is starting out hurt this year, and availability is your best best skill here, especially when on a young roster where you got to develop. So I'm gonna have to give it to Keyshawn George here. I think he had an absolute amazing offseason to really show that he is a two-way player and that he can shoot. So when you have someone like that who's obviously been showing that he's been available, he's been healthy, he's been the healthiest out of the rookies with the exception of Bub. He's been the healthiest so far. He's had a great offseason. It looks like he's actually really expanding on his game a little bit. And if he starts playing a little more defense too and adding to his offensive game, we have a new team MVP. So, yeah.
All right, well, you talk about one of last year's rookies. Let's focus on this year's upcoming rookies. Who do you anticipate to be the rookie of the year for the Wizards?
Oh, it has to be Trey. It has to be Trey Johnson. This man doesn't want to leave the gym. He's putting up, he's doing Sadiq Bey type missions here. We have to kick you out. And CJ McCollum said, you have to find another hobby other than basketball. But I think right now his hobby is I'm going to try to be the best player on this team that I can be. And he's taking that consistently well. And this guy might actually be in the running for Rookie of the Year, based off all the media I've talked to. So without a doubt, it's Trey Johnson.
Sure.
I'm gonna go with Jameer Watkins. No. Trey Johnson is the answer.
That's crazy. Jameer's a good pick, though. That's actually a sneaky pick. Don't disrespect my guy.
It's no disrespect to Jameer. I just wanted to see you guys face it. But no, Trey is the obvious answer. He is a top 10 pick, number 6 overall, and he is, he's a guy who, the team is very much intrigued by, and I love the fact that that they really had to be out there telling him to get off the practice court. And so this is a guy who says he doesn't have any hobbies right now. He's still young, so it's just going to be video games and hooping. And so I think that he'll have the opportunity to go out there and get some shots up. But more importantly, I think that he's a very underrated, secondary ball handler type of player too. And so I think that he'll just be able to contribute in a lot of different ways besides just shooting.
All right. Domo?
Yeah, it's definitely got to be Trey. I mean, dude, it's a walking bucket. I feel like that's all he think about all day is just scoring the ball. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Trey because he's gonna get the opportunities to do it, and yeah, it's his show. Top 6 pick. He more than anything, the team needs him to do it. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Trey for sure.
All right, now let's move on to the most improved player slot. Damo, who do you think on this roster is capable of making the next leap forward this upcoming season?
I'm gonna go. I was initially gonna go Keyshawn George, but I'm gonna go with Cam Whitmore because he played so little for the Rockets. But I think he's going to get such a bigger runway here to kind of explore his game. So I'm going to go with Cam Whitmore.
I'm going with Keyshawn George. I definitely believe that there is an element of this team where they are trying to emphasize the defensive side of the basketball. And so, when the team talked about their first practice last week, how they basically didn't even use the ball. They said it was like track practice. They're really emphasizing what they want to bring from the defensive end. And I think that Keyshawn is a very underrated defender in this league. And so, I really believe that because of his two-way capabilities, that he will put himself in a position to really grow by leaps and bounds over the course of this season.
I'm gonna have to go with Domo here, Cam Whitmore. I think it's a prove it season for him, not contractually, but just for himself and for everybody. He's always had some type of he's always had some type of thing with him to where like he didn't get to play enough or he didn't get to show enough. Where like even with his draft class, his draft stock like dropped initially. So from my initial thinking is just like Cam's like I'm gonna go out here and prove that I can do what everyone's always been telling me what I can do for the whole life. I can score, I can play, and I can really develop. So we're going to really find out if Cam's like, man, did the Rockets get a steal and they just didn't need him, or did the Wizards get a steal and a hometown kid? So I think this is a big year for him.
Yeah, I think contractually, I think he actually does have a lot to prove this year.
That too, he really does. I mean,
I think in the back of his mind, he's definitely thinking about that extension. Like,
yes. But it's also the mental aspect. Sorry for trying to romanticize it also, but like I get why you have to look at me like, yeah. But like, I'm looking at it from a player perspective too. So yeah.
The players like getting paid.
Yeah, they do. They definitely do.
I had to. So
I mean, I'll choose one a little bit more dark horse contender here, but that's just because I've still got stock back from like 2017. I'm gonna keep rooting for Marvin Bagley to prove that he can actually be a real consistent backup.
You guys are looking at me for what I'm saying.
He's got like a week of being the starter out the season. Why not? Let's keep rooting for him.
I mean, that's actually not a bad pick. When you look at the amount of big men that are on this roster, and his ability to go out there and just munch up the empty calories. Like, just give me honey buns.
Yeah.
like I haven't given up on Marvin, but like
No, he's not. Trust me, he's gonna go out there and put up the coldest 8-8 for.
You sound
for sure.
Like Jets fans, like hoping that something ain't happening.
All right, we're gonna that'll wrap up our superlatives right now. So we're gonna go ahead and head on to break. But wait, we actually hear a little something going on here.
Oh,
now I don't know if you'll recall. Last time you were on, you played a little game. It's time to run that back. Attention, one and all present in the court. Now presenting Her Majesty's third ever spelling bee competition. Troy, Isaac, and Domo will once again duel it out to see who the most superb speller in the land is. We begin today's competition with members of the championship-winning 1977-78 Washington Bullets. Gentlemen, are you ready?
Yes.
Wonderful. Troy, your first name. Bob Dandridge.
Oh, BOBDANDRIDGE.
Oh, wonderful. Absolutely superb. Now, Isaac, for you. Phil Chenier.
PHILCH I.
No. PHILCHENIER. E, not I. Domo for you. Wes Unseld.
WESUNSELD.
Oh, wonderful. We've got 1, 1, and 0 for round one. Now, for the second round, we go to other players on the roster. Troy, your next name. Kevin Gravy.
You said Kevin Gravy.
Mm-hmm.
KEVINGR.
You mispronounced it.
Oh, it is. Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
Anyways.
All right, dude. I got that one. GRAVVY?
Oh, no, close, but no cigar. KEVINGREVEY. Isaac, your next word. Mitch Kupchak.
MITCH K U P C U.
No!
Overthought it.
Mitch Kupchak, MITCHKUPCHACK. Mitch Kupchak. Now Domo to close out today's competition. Elvin Hayes.
ELVINHAYES.
Oh, wonderful. Elvin Hayes. Which means that your winner, once again, a 3-time winner. Domo. We're going to now carry on over to commercial again. When we get back, we'll launch the full court press to carry our preseason predictions to the rest of the league. and give an update on the WNBA Finals. This is the Capitol Hill Caucus on ESPN 630 and the ESPN 630 app. Good morning and welcome back into the Capitol Hoop Caucus on ESPN 630. Alongside Isaac Harrison, Troy Halliburton, I am Wardell McCabe. Special thanks to our very special guest, Domo, for sticking around with us as we extend our thanks to all of you at home for sticking with us as well. We're at the part of the show when we run the full court press, which is when we open up the show to discuss the rest of the association. And since we gave our predictions for the Wizards last segment, we thought we should go ahead and do the same for the rest of the NBA. And now that we're about at the midway point of the preseason for most of the teams, let's go ahead and give our predictions for the upcoming NBA season. First, Troy, I'll start with you. What is a team in the East that you anticipate improving the most this upcoming season?
We're going with the Atlanta Hawks, man. I've been on the bandwagon ever since draft night. With that great heist that they pulled off. But, I actually think that they really got better. They added Kristaps Porzingis. They added Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They get Jalen Johnson coming back off of an injury from last season. I think that the Hawks are very much in contention for being able to come out of these.
All right. Now, Damo, who do you think is going to be the most improved team this year?
I'll go with the Orlando Magic. They suffered some injuries last year to Paolo, and then so they they were already kind of trending up in my opinion. But then they suffered some injuries, Suggs, Paolo. They get those guys back healthy, and then you add Desmond Bane and increase their floor spacing, which they had very little of last year with KCP kind of in a down year. I think it's up for them. I think they could be a top 2, top 3 team in the East.
I'm gonna have to give it to the Cavs. They actually low key improved, and if they stay healthy, they might win the East outright. I mean, I think a lot of people are seeing that. Getting Lonzo Ball is a big piece to add to that, and it alleviates pressure off of Darius Garland to do a lot of heavy defensive work, and along with Donovan Mitchell just to score and focus on that. So without a doubt, definitely the Cavs, I think.
Alleviate pressure. It might be the reason Darius Garland ends up out of there. Like.
That too. Where do you finally have a fluid team? So
I have to be honest. I don't really. I guess if winning in the East, we were kind of viewing this more as like a regular season thing. So I'm hard pressed to see the Cavs like winning more than 64 games from last year. But I hear you.
Hey, look, if I honestly feel like I'm with Isaac on this one, because if the Cavs, they probably had the most successful 64 win season that any team.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Like. So they could definitely use some room for improvement.
Definitely could. All right, now let's flip this now. Isaac, what is the team that you think has gotten the worst this past offseason?
Indiana, without a doubt. And not because of the injury to Tyrese Halliburton, Troy's play cousin. Troy got that. Don't worry about it. Losing Miles, man. Miles Leonard, not Miles Leonard, sorry. Why am I tripping on last names right now?
Turner.
Miles Turner, thank you. Common name. Losing Miles Turner and not getting anything in return for that, and he's going to a division rival is absurd. And although you replaced him with Jay Huff, great pickup, big fan, he's not Miles Turner.
I'm going with the Celtics. They actually lost I think 3 or 4 of their starters from last year. Al Horford's gone. Jason Tatum's out. They had to trade away Drew Holiday. They really are going to be a completely different basketball team. And so, I think that when you're talking about last year, how they were the defending champions, and a lot of people picked them to, not only, be back in the finals, but to win the finals last year. I think this year they're looking at, a play-in. And so that to me is a dramatic decrease.
All right, now, Damo, what is the team that you think is going to regress the most this upcoming season?
I think it's going to be the Bucks. all of the smoke around Giannis and his status, his future going forward with the team, and how they did Dame. I just think it's just a lot of I don't know. It's like a dark cloud over that team right now, and I don't think it's going to be good for them this season and going forward if they have to pivot to a full rebuild. Yeah, so I would say the Bucks.
All right, now let's flip it once again. Let's bring in some optimism for the two conferences. Domo, who do you think is going to actually be the best team in the East this upcoming season?
I got to go with the Cavs. Adding Lonzo Ball just gives them so much more versatility because now they have a guy that can play guard or wing. They get some size in that backcourt and defense, so you don't have to play Donovan and Spider together, who are smaller guards. And he can just fit in with either one of them. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Cavs, man.
Go New York, go New York, go. Go New York, go New York, go. Yeah, I'm going with the Knicks. Like, I think that when you look at the Knicks, they didn't really do a lot as in terms of roster building in the offseason. But, they brought in Mike Brown as the coach. They did add, veteran guys like Malcolm Brogdon, who's going to be able to come in and kind of shore up their offensive backcourt. And I'm really curious to see if they are going to start Mitchell Robinson to begin the season, like how they finished last season. And to me, I just think they have like the most roster versatility. When you're talking about the top contending teams, they have scorers, they have 3-and-D wings, they have a big man who can score and shoot threes, and they have a big man who out rebounds everybody. So I just think they have a lot of styles for a lot of fights, and I would not be surprised if this was the next year.
I have to say, yeah. I'm excited about the Knicks. The only thing I was not excited about was the new coaching change, but it's proving that it might work. And the thing is, the Knicks has such a versatile bench finally that will be utilized. You have Deuce McBride, you have Tyler Kolek, and then you have Garson Yabusele, who I think is the most underrated signing for their whole offseason, which is what they needed. They needed a backup center that can play starter minutes just in case Mitchell Robinson gets hurt. And I know the loyalty to Mitch is there, and I know he's been on the trade block, but now they can say, like, hey, look, Mitch, if you're hurt, we got you. We got a very, very talented center at the backup, so I'm prepared to go to the parade in New York. I've already texted Deuce this. I'm like, hey man, like,
There's a name drop.
Yeah, I have to say, I don't care. I don't care. I have no shame in that. I'm going to New York for the parade this year.
All right,
I will be there.
Let's flip it then over to the West Coast. Let's pick a team that isn't the Thunder. Obviously, they're the reigning champs. Who do you view as being the second team to beat in the West?
Wardell, you might actually be happy with me on this. I'm gonna say right now, Denver. Low key, I think they figured out their issues, and I'm very curious to see what this new coach brings and new life, and maybe there's a new motivation with Jamal Murray taking possibly understanding, like, hey, maybe I'll take a step back. I'll find a new role with this team, and with getting Cam Johnson, I think Denver might surprise us. I think Denver's going to surprise us a little bit. So
I'm going to go with the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think that Anthony Edwards has really, kind of emerged as a viable MVP candidate. And when you look at what they've been able to do over the last 3 seasons, like each year they've gotten better, he's gotten better. And so, I think that the natural next step in the progression for the Timberwolves is being able to, go toe-to-toe with OKC and probably be in, like, the conference finals.
All right. And Damo, who do you think could be the best team to challenge the Thunder in the West?
Yeah, I wanted to go Denver because I love that Cam Johnson addition, but I think I'm gonna go with the Rockets just because I'm just a huge fan of Amon Thompson. And, adding KD to that, I just think if they really give Amon the keys and let him rock at point guard, it's the sky's the limit for that team. Because that dude to me is a modern day Penny Hardaway. They just gotta let him do it. So
That's
yeah, I'm gonna go with the Rockets.
All right, now let's move on from team successes on to the more individual side. And let's predict some awards here. Troy, you had mentioned Anthony Edwards as someone that you could see as like a dark horse contender for MVP. For this MVP award, do we think there's going to be another multi-time winner this year, or does someone break the mold? And do you think that there's someone else that can really challenge for this award this year?
I think if you're a smart man, the smart money would be to bet on Jokic. Like, this is a guy who literally could win MVP every single season. And so, if he just comes out and does what he does, like, he's going to be up there. So, I think that Jokic, like I said, Jokic, I mean, there were some metrics last year. He probably should have been MVP last year, but people get a little bit of voter fatigue. And, I think that with him not having won it last year, that, it might be, overdue for him for it to come back around to him.
All right. Domo, who do you predict to be the MVP this year?
I am going to go with Skinny Luca. Yeah.
Not a bad pick.
Not a bad pick.
I'm going with Skinny Luca, man. He didn't. I gave him a tough time, man, with his weight and his work habits, but he looks good, man. He looks in shape. He looks trim. He done put the hookahs down. I'm going with Skinny Luca.
I'm gonna be an outlier here. Wemby? I'm gonna give Wemby a shot here. I think this is his first time trying to be in this conversation. Given that he had a health scare and he's found a way to recover, it looks like he looks healthy. He's probably feeling healthy, and he looks like he grew 2 inches. I don't know how someone's gonna guard that from the wing, so I'm gonna put him in there. He put him in that conversation. I'm gonna give it to Wemby. Give Victor Wembanyama for the Spurs.
He was out there with the monks over in China, man.
And with KG, and with Hakeem. We need a documentary on his offseason this year.
Might have the power of Mao with him. Who knows?
Yeah.
Let's move on, and we're going to change it up for this one. We'll kind of go round robin style per award here, just to speed things up a little bit. We'll first start with Isaac. Who do you anticipate making a swing at Defensive Player of the Year this year?
Wemby.
Double it up. Yeah.
Wemby.
Yeah, for Defensive Player of the Year, 100% Wemby. Like I mean, they don't call him the alien for no reason.
All right, and now Troy, who do you think has a chance at Rookie of the Year?
This is going to probably disappoint a lot of Wizards fans, but when I like to view these awards, I like to look at the landscape of who are the people voting for these awards. And so I'm going to go with Cooper Flagg just because, I think that his name just has so much cachet and that, he'd pretty much have to be a disaster for the people to not want to give it to him. So I think that would be probably the best and safest bet.
All right. Now, Damo, to wrap things up on the awards side, who is a player that you think can take a real leap forward and win Most Improved Player this year?
Wow. Man, I'm going to go. You know what? I'm going to go with Denny Avdia.
Oh, I like it.
How about that?
I like it. Look,
Yeah. Even though that situation with Jeremy Grant over there is a little weird, but
yeah. Yeah, that actually.
I'm gonna go Denny, man.
That actually brings up. I was when I went to Wizards practice the other day. We were having a very intense conversation in the media room. It was me, Chase Hughes, Varun, Josh Robbins. We were in there talking about Denny, and the question was proposed by Chase: Did he think? Do any of us think that Denny Avdia will ever make one All-Star game? And so the room was actually split in half of people who said that, yes, they do believe he can make an All-Star, and people who said they didn't. I think that, again, like I said, I think that he is a very quality player, and he very well could be an All-Star. I don't think his name has that cachet that, he'll ever get voted in by the fans or, selected. But he could definitely be an All-Star caliber player. So it's just funny that, to call back to an off-the-camera conversation.
Yeah, I can see that. I feel like he has the peak potential of like fringe all-star guy, but man, just knowing Portland's weird situation that it is and knowing how not quiet Jeremy Grant is about being disgruntled, I do feel like the conversation can unfortunately stray away from someone like Denny, but I think that there may be an outside chance that he becomes an all-star.
I agree with it. You know, I hope for that, but that's not who I was thinking actually for MIP. So
Who were you?
Zion.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with Skinny Zion here.
Skinny Zion.
I'm going with Skinny Zion here. Zion lost a lot of weight
I
here.
know. Hang the goatee up on the rack.
Zion, real quick, and for the obvious reasons, like look how much weight he's lost. I think Troy Weaver put a little DMV into like A-Mo, like you better get right here, like
They call it. They say A Slim.
Hey,
For real, A Slim for real though.
Yeah, like they probably Troy probably roasted him in the meeting. He's like probably roasted him a little bit. Probably got a little hurt, and Zion's like, you know what? I got to make a change. And yeah, I'm for it. I'm ready for Zion to finally break out.
All right, now Troy, who do you think could make the leap forward this year for most improved?
Ooh, let's go with Asar Thompson. I think that he's the very, a man gets all of the praise, and rightfully so. You know that he's a 1% athlete, but he does have a twin brother, and so I think that Asar has an opportunity to really go out there and help Detroit. A team who really took a leap last year, and if he takes another step forward, then they could definitely be a team that teams would have to look out for in the East.
Yeah, I mean he's a player who actually he lost a lot of games and minutes toward the latter half of last season, and he was a player that they absolutely did need in the closing stretch of that. And you factor in the fact that they are kind of down a wing right now for other unforeseen circumstances. There's definitely the opportunity for him to pick up some more minutes. But let's go ahead and pivot from the NBA over to the W. Anyone who doesn't know, we're actually recording this on Friday night, and we're actually watching the pregame coverage of Game 4 of the WNBA Finals right now. For us, in the past, the Aces are up 3-0. There's a good chance that they could close this out. So I'll just ask that first to Troy. Does this game go 5, or is this it?
Once I saw that Satu Sabali was not playing, I think that the Mercury had a great season. But no, shout out to Asia Wilson, because that was a legacy shot that she hit the other night. So she really. She I feel like for somebody who's had everything throughout the course of her WNBA career, now she could just add, I got that legacy defining moment, that legacy defining shot. And so, that pretty much ended the Mercury season.
Yeah, I mean, not just that legacy defining shot, but a legacy defining season. You not only just have another MVP to add in the fold, but you mentioned it a few weeks ago. This is a team that completely rebounded its season.
I cannot believe they lost by 53 points this season. Like that is incredible. How do you lose by 53 points and then turn around and win a championship? Like that we'll probably never ever see that again.
No, I mean this is a legacy
in any sport on any level.
Right.
Yeah.
It's impossible. Like this doesn't make any actual sense. This felt like a team where the wheels were completely falling off. It was like, okay, end of the dynasty, it's here. Sometimes these things they're not fun to watch the end of them, and it looked like they had hit a wall. And out of nowhere, through the ashes of this, Asia has completely led this team to somehow new heights, and they are on the cusp of closing it out once again. Isaac, do you think that they wrap it up? Yeah.
Asia will, like that last game, that Game 4, I want an Amon Shepard type story, how, Amon talks about his Kobe story. I want to hear that from the Phoenix Mercury in that game, on how that game went out, because you would think like, oh my gosh, maybe we had a shot in the game. Asia Wilson came out and showed why she's a GOAT. So I'm waiting for that story to come out in 15 years. And just based off this is a legacy-defining series. You have to close it. You have to close this. There's no other way out of this. So, no, the Aces got this in the bag, and start writing Hall of Fame nods now.
Yeah, the credit, in all fairness, to Phoenix. They didn't just take this line down. They had 2 games in this series during which it came down to the final minutes. So shout out to them for trying to hang tough. It was just, they just didn't have enough. Domo, though, I do want to ask you this. I mean, we're talking a lot about a player's legacy here. Does the conversation now have to be had about greatest of all time with Asia? Like, it kind of feels like it's impossible to ignore this now.
Oh, it's no question. I mean, this feels like, she's putting up like prime Shaq numbers. Like this is crazy. Like And it kind of feels like the those 2000 Lakers versus the Nets, where it's just like you knew they had no shot. Like you can pack it up. I think it's over tonight, and you just added to her long resume, where obviously she's Hall of Famer, but it's just like, yeah, I think she is. I think she's the GOAT, man. Like that's wild to say because she still got so much basketball in front of her, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what's so astonishing here is she's like just hitting the peak.
Peak, yeah.
It's like in her peak, and it's like she's already
literally just entering her prime.
Yeah. No,
We got Maya Moore 2.0 here. Like as far as like career arc without, yeah.
well, it's just take in every moment that you can and enjoy what it is that we're watching. That's all I can ask for anyone that's listening to this at home. And if the season did in fact end the night that we're recording this, I hope that everyone was able to watch and just witness greatness. I feel like we don't do enough to admire that. But we're going to take our last break here. The next time you hear us, we'll have trivia time for the line. This is the Capital Hoop Caucus on ESPN 630 and the ESPN 630 app. Welcome back into the Capital Hoop Caucus. I'm Wardell McCabe, joined by Troy Halliburton, Isaac Harrison, our very special guest, Domo. To anyone who is just joining us, let me first just say thank you for joining us. Now let's catch you up on what you've missed. We went through the Wizards promotional giveaway schedule for the upcoming season and then discussed their rising ticket prices, which may have inspired them to do so many giveaways. And then from there, we gave a bit of a preview predicting who we thought could be standout performers for the Wizards this upcoming season, which then led to us doing the same for the rest of the league. And just before the break, we checked in on the WNBA Finals. Now, I know you're probably thinking to yourself, my goodness, how could I miss such an amazing show? What am I going to do with myself? And hey, go easy on yourself, my friend, because you can always catch the podcast on your favorite podcasting platform or even on YouTube. And when they find us, what should they be doing, Troy?
Always checking out the Capital Hoop Caucus and supporting the grassroots basketball efforts.
Absolutely. And they should give us a rate and review comment.
5 stars.
5 star. 5 star.
If you give anything less than that, I have to say you a hater.
Hey, shout out to the Evening Jones. But that's right. Now,
I got it.
Isaac, what time is it?
It is trivia time.
Oh,
Absolutely right. It is trivia time.
It is trivia time.
The excitement of the week is palpable, which means it's time for me to make my way for our next host. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Trivia Time from the Line. I'm your host, Guy. Now, you all know the name of the game, but let's get to the aim of the game, which is this: to score more points than your opponent. We'll have 5 minutes on the clock, during which our contestants will have to correctly guess as many players' names as possible in a surprise category of our choosing. And with that in mind, let's meet today's contestants. First up is Isaac, then in Troy, and then it appears that they're competing against a computer. I'll tell you, folks, this AI is getting way out of hand. Someone should really be getting a hold of Allen Iverson and get this in check. Anyway, let's get to today's trivia category. Let's go ahead and flip over those papers, because you're going to be guessing and naming all of the players currently listed as cap holds for the Washington Wizards franchise. When you make your guess, please provide their position, the years they played in D.C., along with their points per game average while a Wizard. Are you all ready?
Yes.
Wonderful. Now, let's get the current cap holds of the Washington Wizards. We'll start first with Troy.
All right. 2018 playoffs only. I think that I'm going to get it because of that. Let's go with DMV native Ty Lawson.
It is Ty Lawson. Isaac.
Center 2016 through 2020, Jan Mahimi.
It is Jan Mahinmi. Domo.
I'm gonna go. Dang, y'all kind of stole my thunder, man. I'm gonna go 2020 point guard. Ish Smith.
No, Troy.
Let's go. Let's go 2020, 2022 point guard. Let's go Ish Smith.
No, Isaac.
Let's go with guard 2016 through 2019, and then 2021 through 2022. I'm gonna go with Austin Rivers.
No, Domo.
All right, so this one, 2016 and 19, 2021 and 22 guard, Ish Smith.
No, Troy.
All right, let's go with 16 and 19, 20. Oh, I know this one. Let's go with my guy, Thomas Sadaransky.
It is Sadaransky.
That's my guy.
Isaac.
Power forward 2025, Anthony Gill.
No, Domo.
I'm gonna go power forward 2025. Marvin Bagley.
No, it is not. Troy.
All right, let's go power forward 2019, 2020. No. Let's go power forward 2019, 2020. I had a name. Is that Jabari Parker?
No, it is not. Isaac.
Point guard 2020, 11 points a game. Ooh. No, not Russell, right?
No, it is not. Move on to Domo.
This point guard 2020 is killing me. Not Russ, not Ish. It's gotta be. Is that Sadaransky too?
No, it is not. Troy.
All right, I think I got one. This is a deep cut right here. 2015, 16, and 2018. Is that Ramon Sessions?
It is Ramon Sessions.
That makes sense. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Ooh.
Oh man, this is great.
2025 power forward. It's not Anthony Gill. Who would it be? Jonas Valanciunas.
No, Domo.
I'm gonna go again. Point guard 2020. I'm gonna go Raul Neto.
No, Troy.
Go. Damn, who was that? 2020 point guard. Huh.
Only there for half the season.
Only there for half the season. 2020. Damn, who was backing up? I'm gonna go with. I actually don't know.
All right, Isaac.
11 points a game. Is that Austin Rivers?
No, it is not. Domo.
All right, so with these years, when you say 2020,
See, like
That's the.
is that the 2020-21 season or the 2019-20 season?
That's an excellent season. That's an excellent question. He was here in March of 2020.
Oh. Did he play in the bubble?
Oh.
Question.
Okay, so then, and oh man,
The last guess of the game.
This, Andre Miller?
No. let's go through these remaining players who went on gas. First up, point guard from 2020 to 2022, averaging 1.9 points per game, Cassius Winston.
Wow.
Next up, power forward 2019 to 2020, 3 points per game, Jonathan Williams.
Oh, man.
Power forward 2025, 3.9 points per game, JT Thor.
Oh, man.
Point guard 2020, 11.6 points per game, Shabazz Napier.
Oh my God.
Shooting guard
God.
2022 to 2023, 7.5 points per game, Kendrick Nunn.
Wow, completely forgot he was a Wizard.
And that means that your score this week at 1-0, your winner once again, Troy.
Yo, I just want to say that I knew that 2018 playoffs one. I knew that one because I just remember Ty Lawson coming in at the end of the season, didn't play the whole season, and got Thomas Satoransky's playoff minutes. And I remember how pissed Satoransky was about that. It's like, yo, they put this dude off the street, and he got my playoff minutes. Like, that was crazy. And then when I looked down, I was like, oh shit, that's Satoransky. Like, oh. But luckily we edited it.
Bleep that out.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's Satoransky. And then the Ramones session one, I knew that still was a capo. I don't know how I knew that, but I knew. So I was looking, which one of these are the Ramones sessions? Like, I knew that he was still a capo. That's crazy. But yeah, shout out to my guy Thomas Satoransky. He's the like I used to sit after the games, and we used to just chat about everything. And I could not tell you how upset he was. Some dude from China came on the street and took his playoff minutes.
Just some dude, Bishop McWinor's best player ever, came home and took his minutes.
That's absolutely insane, though. He's been here the whole year, just lost his playoff minutes.
All right,
shout out Scott Brooks.
Wow.
That does it for us here at Trivia Time for the Line. I'll see you all next week. Goodbye. All right, guys. Who won this week?
Hey, now.
Yeah, but I don't know. I knew one, and I knew one because I still think it's possibly the worst contract in Washington Wizards history, in my opinion, other than John Wall's.
Whoa.
I love you, Jan.
Relax.
I love you, Jan.
You gonna make me change my last shot now.
All right, we're about over with the show, but as everyone who's been listening over the past few months, you know that we have to close things out by first taking our last shots, which is when each of us has 24 seconds completely uninterrupted to speak on anything basketball related, could be beyond the limits of the DMV. Now is the time to let it fly. The only rule is that when your 24 seconds is up, your microphone will shut off. Troy, are you ready to take your last shot?
Born ready. Shout out to DMV native Nolan Smith, who was just named the head basketball coach of Tennessee State University. I think that this is a very viable path for him to become a head coach, and I can't wait to see what he is the latest former player to go to an HBCU and try to turn the program around.
Hell yeah. Isaac, you ready to take your last shot?
True. Shout out to DeMar with him as an associate head coach.
Ooh, I like
Yeah,
that.
DeMar Johnson's there with him, so yeah.
DC Assault in the building.
Yeah, of course, literally. Yeah, I'm ready. Well, the college basketball world lost a legend in her own right. Rest in peace to Loyola Chicago's team chaplain, Sister Jean, passed away at 106 years young. She was amazing. She was the catalyst of their famous Final Four run in 2018 and kind of resurged Chicago mid-major basketball. So shout out to her and rest in peace. And
I feel bad cutting you off, but we do have a rule there I have to stick by. Domo, do you want to take a last shot?
Oh, I got nothing.
Okay, fair enough. Open with it. Nice. I'll take mine as well here. Mine is kind of a follow-up on the Clippers, who debuted another shirt. This one read, "Get the H, help your teammate by spacing appropriately. E, execute our plays with patience and precision. C, create an advantage with frequent and accurate passes. K, know that we also lost to Denver because our poor spacing cost us the possession battle to the corner." Just the dumbest. What is he doing? All right, that'll just about do it for us here. Troy, for our listeners, where can they get more of your work?
And you can always find me on the platform formerly known as Twitter, now X, at Troy Halliburton. And please check out my Substack, Ideal Taste, where I write about basketball.
And Isaac?
You can always find me on X, or formerly Twitter, at IkeIrieitz224, and then on Instagram at Isaac_Ajikumharris224.
Now, Domo, where can our listeners follow you?
Yeah, always on formerly known as Twitter, Domo8186, and the Wizards of Gallery Place podcast, man. We're gonna get it cooking back up, with this new season kicking off, man. So yeah, check us out.
Ooh, exciting times there. Now, Isaac, where can our listeners follow the show?
You can always follow the show on X at Cap Hoop Caucus, and then on Instagram at Capital Hoop Caucus.
All right. Thank you all for joining me while we recorded this show, and thank you all at home for joining us on this latest episode of the Capital Hoop Caucus. If you missed any part of today's show, do not worry. As we said earlier, you can always catch it on the podcast feed, wherever it is that you get your podcast. Just go ahead and type Capital Hoop Caucus in the search bar. I promise you, we'll be right there. And when you're there, go ahead and listen to the latest few episodes. Then subscribe if you can. Give us a rate and review. It really does mean a lot to us. And when you're done with that, head on over to YouTube and do the same for us there. But if you're listening on the radio right now, then be sure to check back in later today at 6 p.m. as we welcome in the Virginia Sports Radio Network. The Cavaliers will be hosting Washington State for a 6:30 p.m. kickoff. And then from there, we'll close out our night with a Game 5 of the NLDS as the Cubs and Brewers fight to keep their World Series hopes alive. Boog Shambi and Doug Glanville will be on the call for that one. And those broadcasts will be airing live on ESPN630DC.com, the ESPN 630 app, or 630 on your local AM dial. Signing off for Isaac Ajikumharris, Troy Halliburton, myself, Wardell McCabe, and our very special guest, Domo. This has been another episode of the Capital Hoop Caucus, reminding you to please, however you can and whenever you can, check on those who are currently affected by the ongoing government shutdown, whether it's by directly providing resources or connecting them to the resources they need. Any help that you can provide, please do. Please be kind to one another. We'll talk to you all at the same time next week.